Many students across Florida will be getting back to school next week. Hard to believe that's already happening already as the summer starts to wind down. Some students will be heading back next week here in Florida, but we know that's going to be different dates for other students across the country. But what we want to do now is talk about school supply and those prices and how those compare and what those trends are looking like this year. So to talk all about it, we want to bring in Saveta Kalenska. She's the CEO and founder of RILA Global Consulting. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So what can you tell us right now about the prices and how they compare? As according to the National Retail Federation, the average family with K-12 students is expected to spend $863 on back-to-school shopping this year. Is this more or less than we've seen from last year? What are you seeing so far?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. What I see on social media is pretty much a similar story what you see in the analysis. So according to my analysis, the cost of a typical school supply seems like it's definitely up. Parents have gone on social media and talked about 7 times more than last year, pricing and anything related to pricing when it comes to school supplies. Interestingly, in my analysis, the items that come up the most in conversations are actually lunch boxes, which are repeatedly in that social media conversation, 30% more than last year. So that's actually a huge percentage. Notebooks follow with about 20% more discussion since last year, and index cards, notebook, papers, and a few other things. Nationally, according to the statistics that I have also read, parents are also expected to spend about $557 per child this year. But when you adjust that to inflation, that actually is closer to 6% decline in spending than what we saw last year. The interesting things that I see in the data are several very kind of like high items that keep appearing besides the lunch boxes. But the most interesting finding on social media among parents is actually that parents relate back to school shopping with tariffs. And that's actually a discussion that we have seen ongoing since 2025 and the announcements that were made back then.
Definitely. We want to also remind our viewers, actually on the bottom, we have that QR code up. So if you want to scan in and wager on yourself, has back to school shopping been more expensive this year? We have a little more, about the same and less expensive. We're going to keep that up while we continue this. Now, Sveta, is there a hot time to start buying? Is it better to buy later, early on, wait for deals? What do you think?
So what I've seen on social media, parents have actually been talking about delaying shopping significantly this year. So many of them have actually opted out for shopping in what looks like early October, basically when the prices start declining. That would probably be one of the things that I noticed the most. The second thing, as a very useful resource for parents this year, seem to be AI platforms. So your typical large language model such as Claude or ChatGPT, where parents have actually gone and leveraged those to find deals, to shop rebates and discounts, and to find actually the best retailer that could offer them the best deal.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about too. Is you brought up social media as well a little bit before we brought you on. How can that also be used, and what have you been seeing in that realm?
So I analyzed over 100,000 posts on social media regarding back to school conversations from US parents. I see very, very interesting things that have jumped out in my analysis, which are very related to how social media can be leveraged. First, I'll start off with the fact that parents in the US feel like their sentiment is overwhelmingly negative regarding back to school shopping. And again, those larger item purchases. And underneath what we see as a consumer signal is that we're seeing a real anxiety among the US parents around the word affordability. Second, it's that accumulation of everyday items that are very frustrating for parents. So as I mentioned, the paper products and lunch containers are definitely coming up more repeatedly on social media, and they're very much seen as luxury purchases. Tariffs, as I mentioned, show up in the consumer conversation at about 20% of all those parents are discussing price increases, and they instantly relate it back to the increase in tariffs. Last but not least, parents are definitely changing in the way that they shop. So we're seeing families with children absolutely with the items that they absolutely need for the first day of school are really coming back to social media and AI in order to search for the best deals. This is actually where thrifting and secondhand shopping appears probably for the first time in several years among US consumers. And the parents who are going on social media and marketplace as a specific place where people shopped secondhand came up highly in my analysis.
And that you bring up an interesting point. I was going to ask that as well as if you saw any trends of how people may be trying to save. Are they trying to go to those second hands, or maybe even not buying a certain supplies that where they're thinking, hey, maybe we don't need this school year. Maybe they didn't. Their kids or the students didn't use it as much the year before.
So, what parents really have been talking about online, which I found the most interesting as a parent myself, is actually how they're currently responding to the pressure in terms of cost. Several consumer behaviors this year are definitely emerging. The first one is, as I mentioned, that parents are trading down. So, in the analysis, we're consistently seeing that families are moving forward toward store brands as basically cheaper alternatives for their shopping for kids. Secondly, parents are becoming much more serious deal hunters. So the US consumer is comparing retailers and again, stacking promotions and searching for discounts, leveraging social media, leveraging AI, and making those smarter decisions when it comes to the final price tag. And this isn't just an anecdotal mention. It's actually that the data shows that over half of the back to school shopping is already basically has either already started back in July or is planned to happen in October. So I think it's a very important consumer signal that I'm seeing on social media. And it's important to mention because, again, we're not talking about pencils or, trading down luxury vacations. We're actually talking about school supplies and being back to school. But what I have also seen from the US consumers is that they are resilient. Parents are very resourceful and they're trading down, they're hunting harder, they're leveraging AI and social media, and they're becoming much more selective about every dollar and where it goes.
And when it comes to shopping online or in person, is there any items that could be even cheaper if you look online rather than going in person? Are we seeing anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. We've actually been monitoring a trend again since last year, which was very heavily focused on shopping from home and e-commerce, meaning shopping online from the comfort of your couch. Parents, because they have been using social media and AI to find the best deals, they're actually opting for more online shopping just for the reasons of being able to compare prices better and also crazy to say, but gasoline prices also come up in the search. With high gasoline prices, parents are trying to save money on getting to the store and doing the in-person comparisons. So we have been seeing this trend. I don't see, of course, the trend of e-commerce declining. If anything, probably within the next few weeks, we definitely see it accelerating as we see the consumer conversations on social media growing around that as well.
And I also want to talk about because we went off the numbers here when it said family with K through 12 expected to spend over $800. I'm wondering, how does this look on the university student front when we're especially when we're talking about like incoming freshmen for colleges? How does that look like when it comes to back to school? Do we know any numbers on that? Because some of these stuff, when you're talking about college students, they have to get laptops. As some schools, when you're talking like K through 12, some of those technologies are provided. Do we know any numbers when it comes to maybe university students and what that could look like?
So university students on social media actually were very vocal about what you just mentioned, which was electronics. So your iPhones and cell phones, actually gaming consoles came up in my analysis as well, laptops, among other electronic items. While I don't have exact average statistic from social media in terms of the dollar amount, what I do see is that right now, the back to school season for college students actually looks like they are expecting new electronic electronic purchases to happen once they are at campus. Some of them are very much tied to, again, discounts and rebates that we saw, but some of them actually have to do with new releases that the large organizations are planning to do for electronic items such as iPhone and other electronics as well.
And you're a mother, of course. Have you been doing your shopping yet? Do you have any strategies right now that you're planning out?
To be honest with you, I have been procrastinating just because the summer feels like it's fully escaped. But in my toolbox at all times, I have been leveraging AI very significantly for shopping. And that's actually what I plan on leaning on the most. When it comes to finding the best deals, as a mom myself, I probably will be leveraging, once again, large language models and searching for specific products that can help my kids grow out with them. So not only use them for this season, but for next season. And that's honestly where I turn back to ChatGPT and Claude and ask them what those products will grow out with my kids so I can save in 2027.
Definitely a lot of good tips there. And that's what I wanted to end off with here, as we already covered a lot of ground. Any final tips that you have for parents out there that are about to do their back to school shopping here soon?
Well, as someone who's very interested in financial literacy, I do have to say that probably one of my big advice would be for parents to budget before they get to the store, before they actually start shopping. So maybe starting off with a very clear list of the necessities and then of the items that are nice to have will be very helpful before embarking on the journey of shopping. But I wish all the parents best of luck, and very excited for the new school year myself.
Definitely all good tips. Sveta Kalenska, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. With that, you're taking a live look back over the city of Orlando, where students in Florida, some of them will be starting the school week just next week. And we have that poll that was up throughout that interview. Has back to school shopping been more expensive this year? 6% of you say much more. 34% of you say a little more. 34% say, it's been about the same. And 26% say, you know what, it's been actually less expensive this year.